We had a little bit of technical issues with the connection. It should be back. We were just talking, to recap, we were just talking about the Philadelphia 76ers, what their plans are this offseason, what the course of that's going to look like now that they got eliminated by Miami. We're pretty much done talking about the Miami-Philly series anyways,
Yeah,
so
we can move on to the next one.
this will be a good segue point to let's just stay in the East now with this
Mm-hmm.
most exciting series. So far. Well, arguably, I guess you could throw the Dallas Phoenix one in there, but personally, I think a lot of people are probably going to put this as their favorite of the second round. Milwaukee, Boston, tied 3-3. Great, obviously, Game 5 by Milwaukee. With Drew Holiday's defense was incredible. We didn't have a chance to talk about Game 5 yet, so I'm starting with that. Lockdown defense by Drew. In even last game as well, he had some great defensive moments, I thought. But ultimately, Game 6, Boston took it. Wasn't impressed, really. Well, not one want to say impressed, but was pretty disappointed with how Jaylen Brown was playing early on. But luckily, he kind of got it going near the end, and Jayson Tatum just looked unstoppable.
I think this is the best game I've ever seen him play.
Yeah, and wanted to kind of start with this, but do you think it's safe to say Tatum's a superstar at this point of his career?
I think we're seeing him turn into it now. Yeah.
Yeah, because I would say this to me, from what I'm seeing, this playoffs, I kind of I've moved him from star to superstar. Like that's the way I'm internalizing it. But always been a huge Tatum fan. Always been a Tatum guy. Always liked Tatum a lot. What's your prediction on Game 7? What do you think's going to happen? It's obviously in
Hey man,
Boston.
I'll stick with my original prediction, bro. I said Celtics in 7.
Celtics in 7.
Although I gotta say I'm rooting for Milwaukee because well, no other. I just fuck the Celtics as a Raptors fan, but I've been super impressed with them. Obviously, I picked them in this series, but the thing, the Celtics are such a great team all around, across the board. Jayson Tatum had a performance last night for the ages. There's no doubt about that. I think he has to do that again for them to win Game 7.
For sure.
Because on the other end, you mentioned Drew Holiday, and he's no slouch. There's no doubt about that. But Giannis Antetokounmpo, there is no question about superstars with this guy.
Oh,
he's been
doubt.
controlling the series since it started. He did the same thing last series. He's did it since he's a returning champion, right? So Giannis is gonna come and he's gonna bring the big guns. It's gonna be a hell of a game in Boston. Game 7 in Boston is so tough. Milwaukee's got a big challenge ahead of them. I will pick the Celtics. I'll stick with my original prediction. But yeah, it's going to be a hell of a game, man. I think if Celtics want to run away with this one, I think Jayson Tatum's going to have to put on another show like that.
Yep, without a doubt. I'm looking for a big game from Jaylen Brown as well. That's what I'm looking.
I don't think he played bad. He had like 25 points.
I mean, he was missing a lot of shots early on. He could even contain his dribble. Like he was turning the ball over so much, just like he couldn't get his dribbling under control. Like it looked, I don't know. It looked rough. He looked like he was just off to me. But Marcus Smart played great last game. He was hitting a ton of threes. I think I agree with you. Tatum's gonna need to be huge. Horford's been huge this whole series, especially defensively on Giannis. Been really impressed with that. What's it going to take on the Milwaukee side? We obviously know Giannis is going to go in there, grab 30 and 10.
Stick to the script. It's been more like 40 and 10.
Yeah, more like 40 and
20.
40
I think
and
last game.
40 and 15, 40 and 20 last game, breaking a record. I think the last player to do that was Shaq, too. Shaq.
That sounds like a Will Chamberlain stat line.
Yeah.
And that's coming again. Like Giannis knows it.
I've been so first of all, free throw.
DiVincenzo. No, is it Connaughton? Pat Connaughton.
Connaughton. Yeah.
He looked good last game. Wow.
Yeah, he did look really good.
Offensive rebounds. That guy can rebound anybody.
I was impressed with him just getting to the hole too. Like for someone you kind of just think of as a shooter, he was attacking and playing aggressive, and they definitely needed that. Bobby Portis has obviously been really big this series. Um, man, I want to, Boston in 7 just feels right. I wouldn't be surprised if Milwaukee took it though. Truthfully, wouldn't be surprised if Milwaukee found a way to get it done. They're a great team.
Defending champs.
Who do you think Miami would rather play next round?
I don't think it matters to them. I think I would rather, if I was Miami.
I think I'd rather play Boston if I'm Miami.
I don't know. It's pretty tight. I mean, if you're saying that because you don't think they have an answer for Giannis, you'd be right. But
mostly
on the other end, I mean, if Jayson Tatum's doing that, and if Jaylen Brown's doing his shit, if Marcus Smart's going crazy on defense too, I mean,
Horford's playing great defense.
It's really tough. That's really tough. Both sides, like picking and choosing. I don't. Bleh.
Yeah, I know.
It's a double-edged sword.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Would you be? I mean, obviously, hopefully they could get Middleton back next series at some point too.
That'd be nice. Yeah, I started reading that there's some a little bit of smoke there that he might be coming back, which would be really nice, but
right,
probably not next game.
I'm trying to just like think with my gut here. Think with my okay, what's my intuition saying on who wins this game? I could see it going both ways. Like truthfully, I could I don't know. I guess I got to give Boston the edge. They're at home, Game 7, but I don't think that's phasing.
Go with Milwaukee.
I want to. I just my gut. Something says is Milwaukee will get it done. I don't know.
I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for Giannis, man. Yeah, I really am.
See, I would love to see Tatum get to another conference finals with something about Tatum, Brown, and Horford doing it again, getting to the conference finals to redeem themselves. I really like that story, and I love Giannis too. How could you not, right? So it's hard, man. I'm just looking forward to a good game. Let me put it that way. I'm just looking forward to a good basketball game.
So no prediction?
I said Boston in 6, but now from what I've seen, my gut says Milwaukee in 7. I'm turning on my own opinion.
That's cool.
But fuck it. That's just how my gut kind of says that. But I wouldn't be surprised if Boston just comes out guns a-blazing or something.
Oh, they're going to come out like that for sure. It's just whether Milwaukee can, withstand that and hit them with a couple of haymakers right back.
Yeah, and that's what I'm kind of thinking. But I think a huge game from Giannis and Tatum probably incoming. Let's move to the other Game 7. Well, actually, no.
Let's talk about the Warriors.
Yeah, let's talk about the Warriors in Memphis, because I don't know, for me, there's not much to talk about. I kind of knew Golden State was winning that last night. Klay Thompson looked unreal, and Klay Thompson does really show up in Game 6s. I was looking at a chart of just his Game 6 history, and it's pretty unreal if you look at it. But Klay looked unreal last night. Warriors looked proper. I thought I think we texted about this, but I was pretty impressed with the Game 5 Memphis pulled off.
Well, how could you not be?
Right.
Although, you know what? There's just one thing I want to say about that is it's happened in many series, not just this year, but throughout the years. Is that was a shellacking. I don't know what you want to call it, but somebody said last night. I wish I could remember. One of the commentators said last night. It was either ex-player or ex-coach, and he said, one of my old coaches used to tell me that a playoff game, it's still whatever happens. You lose by 50, you lose by 5. It's still just one game, and that's the real truth. And you see it all the time in the playoffs where,
facts.
A team will lose by 30, 40 points, but it's not really that they got killed that bad. It's just that at a certain point they just said, well, fuck it, we're done. You know what I mean? And yeah. It is what it is. I'm not saying that's a great thing, but it's...
Yeah, I feel the same way. I personally thought that it was sweet. I was so hyped for Memphis, but at the same time, I was it's a huge W. The margin was massive, but it's you said the most crucial point to me, which is it's still just one game. It's not...
And did you have any doubt that Golden State was going to pull it off?
No. Like I
Exactly.
knew this was over.
So
in
did so
six.
did Golden State.
Right, exactly. And I don't think they were like phased by the loss, like losing by that much. Like it's like they were just like, okay, it's over. Like have your game, like have your time.
Exactly.
They were like, have
Exactly.
your moment.
Enjoy it.
Yeah,
Enjoy it because we're
enjoy
not coming
it. It's
back here.
done. Yeah, it's done.
Yeah.
And I mean, I wanted to mention this because it's something that we kind of talked about earlier on, but like John Morant, I want to say this, but like I know this might trigger some people, but I officially have him listed as an injury-prone type player. Like going into next season, I'm like, yo, I'm sorry to say this. I love Ja. He's electric. He's great. He's a superstar, but guy's injury-prone. Like, sorry, dude. It's just a fact. Like you can't tell me he's not. Like he's missed so much time this year. And it's just, I don't know if it's like the way he plays, if it's fluke, like if it's inviting injury, whatever you want to get. Like I don't even want to get into it really, but to me, Ja is crossed over into that kind of injury prone type player, just from what I've witnessed and seen this year. Like go throughout the season, there was a lot of injuries, a lot of scares, a lot of stuff. We talked about it. Like you can't really be concerned if you're Memphis, but like.
Well, even especially when they play so well without him, anyways.
Right, but like availability is so crucial in the NBA, and like, is there some sort of regiment they can get into? Is there something they got to work on with Ja so he's like less? Is it maybe does it come down to just like starting to play? Like, is it a IQ thing in a sense where it's like save yourself for the right moments and don't overexert, don't do things on, because it kind of just seems like he plays like it's like a young Westbrook, right, where it's like a dog off the leash, like he just wants to run in the field, like kind of, you know what I mean? So it's like, is it toning back in a sense that will that help him long term? Will that help him? Like, will that patience and like obviously that explosive part of his game is what makes him fun and exciting, but at the same time, like I want him to have a really long, good career. And the last thing you want to see is like another Derrick Rose incident or anything like that, right? But like, is there something that Ja's got to do or Memphis has to do? Is it something like, is there anything you would be trying to do if you're that organization to make sure Ja Morant stays on the floor?
Well, I mean, yeah, and I'm sure they're doing everything that they should be doing. Obviously, finding out if this is the same thing that's kind of causing different injuries, or if it's the same injury that keeps coming back. I mean, there's a lot of variables there too that I'm not sure about, so I'm not, really certain what the process is. But I mean, I still wouldn't be too worried about it. Like we've seen a lot of players too, where like he's so young now that even if his last couple of years or so he has had injury problems, he still has so much of his career left that. I mean, I just don't, I'm not gonna assume that he's gonna get injured next year, kind of thing yet. Like you look at Steph Curry, right? Like when he started, he had glass ankles, right?
Yeah.
And but you figure it out. You figure it out eventually. And maybe that's not a good example because that was a specific thing, but. The league has come such a long way. The personnel on the sidelines, the sports science and all that. I think he'll be okay. I actually think he plays pretty poised, to be honest. I think he turns it up at specific times, especially in the fourth quarters. He attacks the rim like that's why I was saying, kind of like Allen Iverson, which can be dangerous for sure, but. He's also kind of so slight that it's not like, there's that much weight coming down on those joints at the same time. You know what I mean? So it kind of, he seems like he's bounces off people and it kind of works for him.
Polar opposite of Zion.
Yeah, well, exactly. So
polar opposite problem, I guess I should say. Like it's
yeah, I mean,
both being physically.
I'd have to look into it a little bit more to have a complete opinion on that, but I'm not worried yet.
It's worth mentioning though. Like it has to be at this point. Like they're like. Yeah, they played great without him, but it's like, okay, in that game 6, if Ja's there, it might be a different story. And Ja's the kind of player where you just want him in the game. I don't care if their record's fucking 18-5 without him. Give me a fucking break. I don't care, dude. I want John Morant in the game, especially in the fourth quarter, like you said, where he's proven to be a difference maker. But him being on the sidelines again, I can't not sit here and say he's not injury prone. Just monitoring and taking into equation the whole season and injuries that he's come across. But yeah, I'm with you. Like, I'm not overly concerned, but it's worth mentioning. I had to mention it because there are certain players in the league that, you know, I feel like don't get the same criticisms, or like their criticisms get swept under a rug because they're so exciting or so cool or so like kind of like a poster boy, or like, you know, you see players like that. And to me, Ja kind of has that effect on people where they'll ignore all the bad things and they'll only look at the good things. And then there's certain players where we look at all the bad things and ignore the good things, like, for instance, like a Harden, to be honest. So it's like, it's like that's my opinion on like Ja's injury situation. I'm not gonna let it go untold, but like I think it's worth definitely talking about, definitely like thinking about, because he wasn't available again. So it's like, okay.
Would you be more worried about James Harden washing out if you're Philly, or John Morant being injury prone if you're Memphis?
Washing out.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to phrase the question.
Well, it's completely different. Like, you have a player at the end of his career versus a player who's just getting started and trying to avoid injuries. Like, it's more thinking long-term future versus with Harden, I'm just trying to get the most out of him that I can with the years that he's got left. So, I don't know. It's hard to compare them. If who am I worried more about?
For those specific reasons. Or is it the same?
I don't know. It's kind of about the same, to be honest, because it's like I'm not as worried. I'm not probably as worried as most people with James Harden washing out. I still think Harden's an unreal basketball player. But at the same time, it's like I don't think it's the old James Harden. I'm not in denial about it, but I am worried about Ja, but at the same time, I'm not. So it's like it's kind of equal for me. I don't know. It's hard to compare them, really, but it's probably about equal, I guess. I'm not overly worried with either, I guess you could say, but just thought it was worth mentioning with the Ja Morant thing.
I do want to give props to Memphis though, because they put up a hell of a fight with and without Ja Morant.
For sure.
And I think that these guys are super young, and this is very, very good experience for them. They are going to come back even stronger next year. Memphis is there to stay. Like, we're going to see them in the playoff picture for a long time.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. This is just the start. Like, think about early Bucks teams with Giannis getting eliminated in the playoffs. Like, it happens. Like, these moments.
You need to learn how to lose before you learn how to win. It happens to everybody.
For sure. And that's about what growing is, and you get a taste of that, and you want to come back and get further. Like, that's all part of the process. Every NBA player will go through that. You know, there's guys who win titles super early in their careers, right? Like, did Magic win it as a rookie with Kareem?
Yeah, I did.
So it's like you have those situations, right? But look at LeBron, look at MJ, look at all these guys. Like, they lost first a bunch, right? And then they learn to win, and that's part of the process, like you said. Okay. Let's get into the other Game 7 coming up tomorrow. Phoenix, Dallas. You've been super high on Dallas this whole series that we've done this. You've been very, very adamant on Dallas and Golden State. So your prediction's looking like it could come to fruition here.
Could be.
What's your thoughts on Game 7? It's going to be a tricky one for Luka and Dallas to get it done. I mean, obviously last game they looked unreal. There was no answer for Luka. No one was guarding him.
There's never been an answer for Luka.
Does Phoenix being in Arizona and playing this game
huge
in a Game 7 in their arena with their fans?
If this was in Dallas, I would say the Mavs are going to win it. There's no doubt in my mind.
Fair. And I probably would be with you, but the Game 7 in Phoenix, where are you sitting? Are you about 50-50 on this one?
I think it's going to I don't know if I want to. I'm going to say Dallas because that was my prediction. I'll stick with it
for sure. But you're not 100% Dallas. Like, I'm not 100% Dallas or Phoenix. I'm very split. I don't know. I'm like Bucks Boston on this one. I don't know.
It depends on a lot of things. I think the fact that it's in Phoenix is huge, and specifically for Chris Paul because he's had a really hard time in Dallas. Even more than the last couple of games, even at home, he's had a rough one. But
yeah.
if Chris Paul turns it on, you know how we saw in in the first two games.
Mm-hmm.
That's really tough for Dallas to come back from. And it's not that I'm saying it's going to be the Chris Paul show, but if we get that Chris Paul show in the fourth quarter,
Mm-hmm.
eesh,
Mm-hmm.
that's tough, man. That
Mm-hmm.
crowd bumping, Devin Booker hitting clutch threes. You know, everybody else ready.
Mikal Bridges hitting clutch threes, Ayton getting putbacks. Like I could see it
Yeah.
going their way just with like that energy, that crowd.
I will say that I think that's what Phoenix should do is, you know, I think if Aiden gets like 30 and 10, I have a hard time seeing Phoenix lose. Like that would be kind of maybe not to finish the game, but at least for the first start of the game, like
So you
go right to Aiden, man. Let him dominate.
So you thinking feed Ayton on the
That's what I would
block
do.
early? Kind of with you on
Early,
that. Kind of
yeah.
with you on that. I think when you see Ayton get into a like a snowball when he starts turning, they all start kind of moving as a team, and then you get like once he's cooking, man. Ayton's very hard to stop. Like near the rim, he is.
They don't really have anybody that can stop him.
No.
They got big bodies, but Aiden's more than just a big body.
Couldn't agree more. What's your so I'm curious on this. We've talked about DeAndre Ayton's growth and where we think we don't think we both said like we think he still has a long way to go in terms of growth. Like how valuable is DeAndre Ayton to you in the grand scheme of the NBA? How do you value DeAndre Ayton? Like relative to maybe some other bigs like Jonas Valanciunas and guys around the league like that, relative to your Embiids and your Jokic's and your
That's you know what? I think Jonas is a good kind of like level. I'd probably put him a little ahead of Jonas, mainly because of his age.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's kind of where I gauge him right now, right this second. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
That's good. That's a good comparison.
How would you be valuing him
money wise?
Well, because there was this whole thing in the offseason with not wanting to pay him a max deal, and
they still haven't given it to him. I can't believe it.
Right. So what's that say to Ayton? He's restricted, but is someone going to come in and offer him a max deal?
I don't know about the max. Like it's possible. But big men like this, or big men in general, are not, are the top commodity in the NBA anymore. It's been that way for the last 10 years, right? So it's possible that somebody swoops in and offers him the max for sure. And he definitely, I don't want to say that he doesn't deserve it or he does, but I would say more along the lines that he would deserve it. I mean, he's got a lot of potential, but I'm not sure that competition's out there. And strictly business speaking, I can kind of see why Phoenix would kind of hold out like that.
Right.
Although I don't think, I think that is completely outweighed by like the message that it's sending to DeAndre Ayton.
That's my
especially
thing.
For a team coming back from a finals run. So I probably would have, offered him something.
What's your thoughts on the Dallas situation as a team right now? Where do you think? Okay, like obviously, if they win, we're not talking about their offseason. If they lose, we go right to the offseason. What's your thoughts on Dallas as a team right now? Like to me, I still don't see a team around Luka that is at a full potential, or like a team where you would look at it on paper at the start of the year and be like, that team's winning a title. But like you said, Luka's really just so unstoppable that he has this aura energy. It's very, like when I think
he's a generational talent, man. I don't use that lightly.
Is it safe to say they call me crazy, and there's so many differences like defensively early on in their careers, athletically, but to me, is he the closest thing we've had to LeBron James since LeBron James?
Hands down.
Right?
Yeah. Not overall,
right?
But the way he plays offense, the way he controls the game on offense, there's no question in my book.
Closest thing to LeBron James, right?
And even
that's
I think he's a better scorer than LeBron was at his age.
Probably is. I mean, probably is.
LeBron
got there
the same way. He gets those passes out to those corners like LeBron does.
Right, and
he plays at his pace, kind of like LeBron did, even though LeBron's pace is, pedal to the metal. But.
Right. But like I know that's the comparison. It's not like athletically. Like obviously, if you're looking at like young LeBron and young Luka, like you probably wouldn't look at it on paper and be like, okay, they're the same type of player. But it's everything you pointed out: dishing to the corners, elite vision, for me, it was also how you said controlling the game at his own pace.
Oh,
That's the one for me where it's so
His
unfathomable.
rhythm is everybody play like everybody on the floor is.
The whole game's at his is in the palm of his hand.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he controls it. He controls it. And then there's, I don't know, maybe 3, maybe 4 players in the league that do that.
James Harden used to do that exceptionally, but not anymore, unfortunately. But back in like Houston Harden, that's what people kind of associated with, right? Like he would pace the game so well. LeBron, I would put in that category. Who else would you have in that category? I'm curious. Maybe like a Kawhi Leonard when he's cooking offensively. Can't really.
Kawhi in the 4th, maybe.
Yeah. Trying to think. Kevin Durant at times, but it's different. It's not really a pace with Durant. It's more like he'll just shoot over you. I don't really know. Like it's different. It's weird. I don't know.
No, it's true. It's true. It's
not
more of like a
slowing
point guard thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
More than anything.
Yeah. I guess Jaw kind of, like to an extent in the 4th, like a bit.
Well, he showed flashes this year. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Chris Paul.
Chris Paul is the one I was gonna say. Yeah. When he's really rolling on all cylinders there.
Yeah.
But he's had kind of crappy last couple games. So.
Yeah, last game was rough for him. But I'm hoping big game 7 incoming. Okay. So like let's be. You're sticking with Dallas.
Yeah, I got to. I have to, man. I'm not gonna switch now.
Yeah. So this is my thing. I think Phoenix, just based on game 7 in Phoenix. Well,
if I was a betting man, I'd say Phoenix.
Yeah, but I want Dallas. Like I want Luka to pull it off. That would be, mostly because I would love to see Luka versus Golden State.
I know, right? Oh my god.
So that's like why. That's
right.
That's like why I want Luka to pull it off, because that would be such a fun series to me. Like, I would love that. I will watch every single game.
Okay. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
But
what are you looking for in this game? For let's say going with Phoenix. What do you think Phoenix has to do?
I think I'm with you if they have to get DeAndre Ayton involved early. I think Devin Booker needs to be assertive, and I think he needs to close the game. I think Chris Paul needs to play his game, and even if he's not scoring the ball a ton, I think if he's just doing the little things, getting steals, getting easy assists to Ayton, hitting his mid-range shot when they need a bucket.
Mid-range. Oh, yeah.
That needs to be there, and I think Mikal Bridges needs to be defensively. Like we need to feel Mikal Bridges' presence defensively very early on, and I think he's always been a reliable corner shooter. If Chris Paul can feed him in the corners, if they can find Bridges throughout the game sporadically at the right moments, that's another key. But I'm with you. Ayton involved early, Chris Paul playing his game, and probably Booker closing the game is kind of like what I think they need to do to win it. If I go to the Dallas,
it's a nice recipe.
If I go to the Dallas side of things, Luka's got to be the guy, obviously, but it's going to come down to, can Brunson get it going early? Can your bigs stay pace and space with Kleber and stuff? But it's more about, can we contain Ayton? Can we stop that from becoming a problem? And then it's like, what's Dinwiddie going to give you? He's super inconsistent. Some nights he looks like a star. Some nights like he looks like an all-star. Some nights he looks like a bum. So it's like he's got to be there. Brunson has been there. He's going to get paid, obviously, off-season, but we need to see a big game from Brunson, probably.
He's got to attack early and often.
Dorian Finney-Smith has been shooting the ball great, and we got to probably see another
big time,
big game from him.
He's going to get paid this off-season too.
Yep. And I think, though, Bullock's been so reliable. I think for me, though, the big one, I'm not really worried about Brunson having a good game. If he had a great game, that's going to help them. But you know who I think really needs to step up now that I'm thinking about it? I think we got to see some big moments from Dinwiddie. I think Dinwiddie is the guy here. I think there's a lot. If you're Dinwiddie right now, like I'm looking at Dinwiddie, like you could be the reason you win this series, because he's hit some big shots throughout this course of the season. I'm going to the early games in Washington when Beal's missing games, and Dinwiddie's hitting some big shots. He hit some big shots when he came over to Dallas late in the game, and when he is playing assertive, like I like him shooting certain shots. I like when he's playing to win and he's playing aggressive. So I think if Dinwiddie can come out aggressive, I'm not too worried about Brunson and Doncic, but just say Brunson starts off cold, he can't hit a shot, he can't find a rhythm, Dinwiddie's going to need to be there scoring the ball, I think, for them. And probably just making the right play. Like, Luka will find you. You got to hit the shot. Bullock's great about the catch and shoot. Bertans, like, I'm hoping he can keep it going from three. It's going to take a lot from Dallas, though. Phoenix is a very, very hard team, and we saw it all year. And, I mean, Game 7 in Phoenix, it's going to be tough.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be tough.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's going to be a battle. I'm so excited for these games tomorrow. And just, like, as a whole, I think this playoffs has been so exciting. But I think we have a lot to look forward to.
Hey, Game 7 on a Sunday is always special. I don't know why. It just feels right.
Couldn't agree more. So yeah, man, pretty excited. I'm kind of just now processing. We're gonna either see Golden State, Miami, Milwaukee, or Boston, Phoenix, or Dallas. Well, I say all those teams. One of those teams is going to be crowned a champion in the next few weeks. Will it be, familiar faces with Milwaukee? On Golden State? Will it be Miami lifting the crown again? Last time since LeBron in the Heat era. Will it be Phoenix and Chris Paul getting his first ring? Will we see a Luka magic come to light?
Wouldn't that be something?
And see this a young phenom in the works. And dude, I'm excited. I predict who wins it all right now. What's your gut say? Predict the win. Who wins it all?
Golden State.
Woo, okay.
And that hasn't changed since the start, really. I think they would have been my pick at the start. I still feel pretty good about them. I'm a little concerned about the Otto Porter little lingering injury and not being able to have Andre Iguodala last game either. But they're so deep, and like you see last game, what happens when Klay Thompson comes to life?
I'm gonna be weird. I'm gonna say Phoenix wins it all this year.
Okay.
I think if they can get by Luka, that's when they're going to start to find their rhythm, and I think they could upset Golden State. Like, on paper, I like the way they match up with them. I don't want to I'm obviously not counting out Golden State, but I think if they get by Golden State in that conference finals, I think they're going to have a lot of confidence going into the finals. But I don't know. Could be wrong on that. Golden State is like another great pick. Like, I could totally see them winning it all. There's a lot, frig, man. I don't know. I don't want to count the East out, but I think if Milwaukee could also get Middleton back, that's a pretty big game changer.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth. And even though I picked the Celtics, man, something in my heart is telling me it's going to be Golden State and Milwaukee in the finals.
Right? Curry versus Giannis. I could see that too.
Maybe I'm just hedging my bets a little bit.
No, but I kind of know what you mean. That's like I could see that being a finals. I could see that being the finals.
It'd be apropos.
Or a Boston. I could also see a Boston Golden State too. Now that I think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Boston Golden State, Milwaukee Golden State, I could definitely see. But I don't know. I got to see what Phoenix does. Like, something about Phoenix, I could also see winning it all. But, like, I don't know. I'm kind of on this train of, like, I would not be shocked if Golden State was back in the finals at all. So it's like, damn. Okay, well, I know I just said like 7 teams, but that's the reality of this playoffs.
That's the fun about the parity that we're seeing right now.
Right.
Although we are talking about Golden State, which they've been around pretty often in the last 10 years, let's say, or 5 years, let's say. But it does feel like any of these teams, maybe some a little more than the others, but it does feel like any of these teams has a chance. And I think as an NBA fan, as a basketball fan, just as a sports fan in general, that's all you can ask for, because it makes things like it's fun to see, LeBron and the Cavs go against Golden State and, the grudge match. And
that was a fun era. That was a fun era for sure.
It creates something that we're going to look back on for a long time.
Right. But, like, isn't it, and just to segue off that point quick before I sort of cut you off, but it's like, don't you feel like when you watch footage of that finals, it's very like nostalgic. It's very like Bird versus Magic feeling. It gives you that feeling. Like those rivalries give you that. But at the same time, I think what you're trying to get at is like this style of playoffs and this type where anyone could win it. It's much more gratifying as a fan, because you're like, I really don't know where this could go. And that's like very exciting as a fan to watch and be a part of, because it's like, wow, okay, like why are you picking this? Why is this your prediction? It's not like, oh, I think LeBron and Golden State will meet again this year because they're just the best. It's like, damn, all of these are really good teams. You're weighing so many factors like health and matchup, and that's all coming into like the equation of how this could pan out. So, sorry to cut you off, but
That's good.
I think what you're saying is like very, very true, and I just wanted to and not that there's anything wrong with like those big, heavyweight matchups, right? Like we love those as sports fans. Those are when the viewings are the highest, and we love to see LeBron go at KD and Steph, and we love to see those big heavyweight matchups. But then when you have more of a anyone can win,
when everybody's a heavyweight, I think is better for the league.
Yeah, and it feels very exciting because it's like this is the kind of stuff where we could see Golden State win it, and we could see Milwaukee win it again, but it's like we could also see a new champion be born and a new star be born. Like, what if we get a Phoenix Miami finals and DeAndre Ayton wins finals MVP? Then we're talking about DeAndre.
Or Phoenix Boston and it's Jayson Tatum.
And Jayson Tatum was an MVP. Then we're talking about these guys in a totally different light next year, right? And we see them with a whole new light. Like if Jayson Tatum's the finals MVP and we're going into next season, well, we're thinking about Tatum a little differently. In terms of what I mean?
Should we talk about those extra trophies they added?
Yeah, sure. What's your thoughts on it? Well, you said you weren't a huge fan.
I kind of teased it already. I mean,
I like the idea of having like a Larry and Magic thing. That's cool.
Awards.
Yeah.
Sorry, what did you say?
I said I like the idea of having it like Larry and Magic. Like that's a cool little way of like.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Nothing against that.
Yeah.
I just feel like, and maybe I'm wrong. But I just feel like, for me, the Finals MVP to me is the big one, is the one
sure
that matters. And I guess it, when there's only one and it's at the end, you do kind of like some great performances kind of get lost in the shuffle. That's true. I'll admit that.
Right.
And this is a way of
acknowledging that,
acknowledging that, and that's true. But I also feel like. Won't like whoever, let's say west is this guy, east is this guy, aren't the odds that the finals MVP will be one of those anyway?
Probably yes, but let me give you an example of where I thought it could be, of times where it could have been different. You could have, let me give you a perfect example.
All right.
Golden State, when they won the year where Iguodala won finals MVP, Steph Curry should have definitely won the
I don't think that.
Not the finals. I was going to say the like the conference award, like the Magic Johnson, I guess.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
See what I'm saying? So in a sense, like it would be, so even though, yeah, like it probably would be the same player. Like I hear you, like LeBron James wins it in the West and he goes to finals or something. It's like, it's probably going to be LeBron James. Like I hear you, but then it's also like, if you have teams that are like, what if we have Tatum go absolutely nuts, right, in these rounds, and then what if we get to the finals and Jaylen Brown is the finals MVP? Like he just goes bananas and he just can't miss a shot. You know what I'm saying? So like there could be variation, especially when we're talking about the NBA, like what we were just saying with like all these teams having such, like where we could see it going so many different ways, and then you have like these deep teams like a Phoenix where like you could have Chris Paul win it, or a Booker win it, or even like maybe an Ayton win it, or Golden State you could have Curry win it, maybe you have Clay win it, maybe you have Draymond win it, maybe Jordan Poole wins it. Like I think but with the way it is now, there's so much variation on like how this could go. I'm with you, like stars will be stars, but then I also think to like, if this was around in the bubble, like Jimmy Butler would have something to hang his head high on, like for his performance throughout that whole bubble and going into the finals. So I kind of like it in that sense. I like the Larry and Magic thing, but I'm kind of with you. Like it kind of feels like it'd be silly to be like, oh, LeBron James, and then it's like, oh, one more round later, oh, LeBron James. So it's like kind of weird in that sense.
Well, it doesn't have to be LeBron.
No, I'm giving you like like a star example. Or like I would say the same thing with like a Kawhi Leonard, or you know what I mean, like. Like, it's Kawhi Leonard conference finals, and it's like, oh, Kawhi Leonard in the final. Like guys that you just feel like will win it no matter what team they're on, like LeBron's, Kawhi's, KD's, those kind of players, Giannis's, right? That is like a little foolish in that sense, but I think it also gives guys like maybe, you know, like your Jimmy Butler or, you know, like someone like a Steph maybe on the Warriors, like where like they just to give recognition for like getting them there. Like it has something to stand behind that, because like especially going forward, like think historically when you're talking about the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
And then you're just saying like 20 years, right? Like you have a kid who's like, okay, like I'm looking back on I'm looking back on the NBA playoffs with Iguodala won Finals MVP. But then if you're looking back and then Steph Curry has the Magic Johnson Western Conference playoff award, then you're like, okay, like I kind of understand now that Steph Curry was the reason they got there and Iguodala was the best player in the finals. So it's like it will provide context to people looking back on it, I think, which is why I'm okay with it.
Fair enough.
Does that make sense? That's my thoughts behind it. But I kind of am with you where it's like it kind of would be silly. It's like, oh, Kawhi Leonard wins the conference, and then it's like 4 games later he wins the Finals MVP. It's like, oh, okay, probably yeah. So I'm with you in that sense, but I think it could provide context given the right situation, if that also makes sense.
We'll see how it goes.
But I do dig the Larry and the Magic like idea.
Yeah, of course.
That's so cool. You know, and that gives like a really cool rivalry of like, you know, and it's like imagine one year we get Luka winning that award, and then like in the East we get Trae Young winning that award or something. You know what I mean? Like that'd be so cool, and like I don't know, stuff like that I love. So I'm a sucker for that. But kind of with you, like it could be foolish, like at times, if a guy just cleans up, like a Luka.
I mean, I don't know if I would say foolish, but I think silly.
Yeah,
it might, but like maybe they'll do it like, I don't know, because even that sounds stupid. Like I'm thinking like maybe let's say it's Miami and Celtics, okay? In the East, I mean,
Yeah.
And let's say Celtics win, but let's say they give it to Jimmy Butler.
Sure, that's
because he had a great thing.
Yeah.
Like maybe
that's kind of cool.
That could make sense, but then doesn't that seem a little weird too to give it to somebody on a losing team?
Not really, because then think of the year where you were like LeBron would have been my Finals MVP that year, where a lot of people say that, like that.
Yeah, but that's a one-off situation
for sure. But I'm just saying, with context, if that comes into play, it's like we can give LeBron something now to be like this. If you're looking back on this historically, like you need to know how good LeBron was this series, or like even like here's a good example, bro. Like when the last year when Kawhi got hurt, like Kawhi could have easily because like people say like that, like as crazy as Kawhi's stretch was in Toronto, like if you look analytically at like what he did on the Clippers before he got hurt, it was like actually fucking ridiculous. Like analytically, like the shooting percentage, like everything, bro. It was like
he was a machine last year, but I wouldn't have given it to him last year.
But you know what I'm saying?
He got injured in the second round, I think.
I thought it was wasn't the
No, Clippers went to the conference finals.
Right.
But
I thought
he Utah without him.
Oh, he didn't get hurt in like game 1 of Utah? That's when I thought he got hurt.
Yeah, in the second round.
Or sorry, game 1 of the conference finals.
No.
No.
I remember they beat Utah. Well, anyways. Huh.
My point is like if he just went and played and then got hurt in the conference finals, like maybe then it's like, damn, we acknowledge what he did. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like it's just something to like show what he did that year. Because now if you look back, like unless you were watching it, you know what I mean? Like that will get lost in the shuffle. Like that great performance.
Yeah.
In a sense. Like to other people. Like for us, we're watching it live, we know. And we love basketball so much that obviously we're like, we know, we soak that up. But it's like maybe kids in 10 years that like didn't watch that and just see like Milwaukee won or whatever. You know what I mean? Like they're like, oh, it's Giannis. But it's like, yo, you guys didn't even see what Kawhi did that year. Like it's crazy. And then like I'm thinking about if I had that to look at for playoff performances of like when Barkley went to the finals and lost. Maybe then I'm like, oh shit, Barkley was like crazy that playoffs. Like, look at these numbers, bro. Look what he was doing. Like, he won that award. Like, it would give me context, not living and watching in that time. So that's like where I'm thinking about it more.
Yeah, I get it.
You know, so, but yeah, that's a good conversation. Good point. Good talking point. I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't really think about it to this extreme until I just kind of started talking and rambling on and like thinking about it like that way. But then when I kind of broke it down, I was like, damn, I guess I do kind of really like it, but I don't know. I'm glad you brought it up. Yeah, man. I mean, we're probably over the hour, just given like the first part of this. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we wrap? Like, I think we
Yeah,
covered
there
most of
is.
it.
There
Oh, yeah.
is.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, two people in the NBA family that we lost. Um, what is it? Danley? I should have looked this up before saying this, but former player, yeah, Adrian Danley. Oh no, sorry. Who did? My bad. Didn't we lose? Didn't somebody die like this week?
I
Oh man, this is awful.
This is
No,
awful.
terrible.
I honestly, as awful as you feel for not remembering it, I feel just as awful for not knowing.
Well, oh my God.
Uh,
Okay, I'm going to hell for that one. I'm sorry, but
You're
there's
good.
two. The other one.
I'm trying not to.
remember, I
I'm
think
trying
that's
not to laugh on my end because I'm like,
Oh
oh
my God.
God,
Cool.
they're
Trying to
so
sound like a
they're so important to you. They're so important to you. You can't.
Oh well, you know, it's an
no,
NBA
I
podcast.
no, I
think we
feel
should
you.
put out
I
our
feel you.
respect,
I feel you.
but,
I respect.
The one I do remember is Adrian Payne, because I remember him getting drafted. I think he was a teammate of Draymond Green's, or not far after Draymond Green or anything. And he's younger than me right now, you know, and he
Yeah, facts. No,
got
I
shot or something.
I feel you. I feel you.
Respect.
No, respect for sure.
Peace.
R.I.P. And yeah, that's
the one I missed, man.
No, you're good. You're good.
So
You're good.
embarrassing.
No, you're fine. I was trying not to
What
laugh.
an idiot.
No, I was
People
like,
are this fucking guy.
no, I was trying not to laugh on my end. So like, if when you watch it back, like it just think like he's trying not to break a smile, and I was literally just like holding it in. And then when you broke, I broke, but it
Bob Lanier.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, I actually saw that on Instagram.
Adrian Danley's still alive. I'm calling him dead.
Imagine he's watching and he's like, "I'm right here. I'm fine.
Sue him now.
Yeah, I'm fine." He just like calls us out and shit. No, cool.
Bob Lanier.
Bob Lanier. I wasn't like too familiar myself, so like I can't really talk. But like, I'm glad you brought that up.
I played I think a super long time ago.
Good. Yeah, see, maybe if there was a Larry Bird trophy to his name, then I could attach some context too.
Bro.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, good segment today. We talked about a lot of good stuff. Big Game 7s tomorrow. And yeah, we'll have a lot to talk about next week for sure. Pretty stoked, and we'll probably be like 2 to 3 games into the conference finals at that point. Maybe 1 or 2. Maybe 1
next week. Yeah, we should be
1 or 2, maybe 3 games into the conference finals. So we'll have some good talking points. I would assume it's going to be like 2-1 next week when we come back on each end. Like it's going to be the next series. The next series I think are going to be battles. I think they're going 6 or 7 each.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. Well, it's kind of like in the East, it's going to be like those old school grind out.
Right. That's why. Like it's going 6 or 7.
Crazy.
Miami,
but out
Milwaukee,
West is going to be just the Wild West, man.
Right.
It's going to be just firepower, both sides. Whoever wins.
Yeah. And we'll have a lot to talk about for sure. So
definitely.
Yeah, man. Good episode today. Sorry about the technical difficulties
at
the beginning. I might just upload this part and we'll ignore what we talked about. Basically, if you missed it or if you're curious, if you're watching this back, we basically just talked about Miami and Philly in that series and what we think Philly should probably look at doing in the offseason. And we basically, just to break it down.
We'll do offseason. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I was just saying, basically to break it down, we just said that like, it could be a blessing if they can get Harden for less, because either way they were probably going to bring Harden back, but we kind of just went probably honestly a little too long on it anyway. So, that was just what we talked about before technical difficulties, and it wasn't probably even too crazy anyway. So I might just cut it honestly, but we can always come back to that when we get into we'll probably get into once the finals end. We'll get into all off-season stuff anyway, so we'll probably come back to that. That's kind of what you missed. It wasn't really too much anyway. So, but yeah, I might just leave that out for the sake of uploading. And either way, we'll see you back here next week, talking conference finals, man.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it, bro.
Cool. Peace, guys. Have a good one.